In this video, I'm going to show you the essentials of good eye contact so that you can feel confident no matter who you're talking to and make great first impressions. By the end of this video, you'll know how much eye contact is the right amount, a great practice technique that I've used myself to really master eye contact, and lastly, a better perspective to have about eye contact to make the whole thing just way easier. But before we get into that, I just want to say the reason I'm making this particular video right now is because one of you requested it through the Reddit community. If you haven't already joined it, it is a great way to connect more directly with me as well as talk to each other. If you have any issues, any success stories, anything you want to share, go ahead and post it there. And if you don't know about Reddit, it's super easy to join, doesn't even require an email to sign up. So go ahead and join that. I'll put the link in the description below. So my first tip is to keep in mind the 80-20 rule of eye contact. You may have heard of some other 80-20 rules. There's like a million of them out there. But in terms of eye contact, it means exactly what you think it means. 80% of the time making eye contact with the other person, and about 20% of the time looking away other places. The reason for this is because obviously if you look straight at them right in the eyes the entire time, it starts to look really, really creepy. And of course, if you don't make enough eye contact, like maybe only like 50% of the time, it just comes off a little bit like you're a little bit shy. And that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to come off as confident. So the best way to practice this rule is to just keep it natural. Like try to remember that you should be doing about 80-20, but whenever you look away, just have it be because you're thinking about something, or maybe something caught your eye behind the other person, you just kind of glance away. But don't just think like, okay, it's been like 1 minute, which means now I have to do like 5 seconds away, so now back at the icon, like don't overthink it. Just let it come naturally, but keep it roughly around 80-20. So for tip number 2, how about we switch up the scenery? Now that we're somewhere else with no ocean sounds drowning out my voice, let's get into tip number 2, which is a little practice game, I guess you could call it, that I used myself to improve my eye contact abilities, I guess you could call them. So the way this little game works is that when you're walking down the street and you kind of randomly catch eye contact with someone, instead of just looking away instantly, you hold that eye contact and you try to be the one who holds it longer, so like they look away first. Because this technically puts you in a little bit of a power position when you're locking eyes with someone and then they look away from you. That's kind of like, I guess, kind of showing that you're the more powerful one in this little interaction, I guess you could call it. As silly as this stuff sounds, you'll kind of realize what I mean when you try it out. Look them in the eyes, and if usually it'll take like 1 or 2 seconds, they'll look away, and then you can just look away too, because if you keep looking at them after that, then that gets really creepy. What's also really creepy is if you keep holding eye contact with that person for more than like 2 or 3 seconds. After 2 to 3 seconds, give up, just look away, because it's just gonna start getting really weird, really tense, really quickly. But hopefully after you do this a few times, you'll start to get used to it and you'll start to realize that eye contact isn't all that hard. And you'll start to reframe your brain, which actually leads me into my third point, which is that you just need to change your perspective on eye contact. So as you start to get used to making eye contact with people and it becomes easier and easier, what happens is you can reframe your brain a little bit because you realize making eye contact isn't necessarily scary. In fact, it can even be a source of confidence. Like if you're good at holding eye contact, that'll make you feel really good, especially if, it sounds kind of bad comparing yourself to other people, but especially if you're in an interaction with someone else who's not making as good eye contact. You'll kind of feel like, oh wow, I can actually do this. I can hold eye contact longer than someone, not just like a decent amount. And that'll actually be kind of exciting. You'll start to feel like, wow, I really got it in me, because you do have it in you. This is something I always want to advocate. Confidence isn't something that you're striving towards that you don't have. It's something you have within you, and you just need to find it. And it's the same exact thing with eye contact. It's like you are very capable of making eye contact. It's not that hard, but you've just been telling yourself the wrong stories or whatever it may be and making it seem like a big deal when really it's not. So if you can just reframe your brain a little bit, so instead of being afraid of making eye contact, you can actually make it kind of a source of excitement. That will make things so much easier. So I know I said there were 3 tips, but here's a little bonus one just in case you are a guy who is watching this for kind of dating advice or game purposes. If you're in a if you're in a bar and you kind of make eye contact with a girl, a lot of guys aren't really sure what to do in that situation. My take on it is that if you make random eye contact with a girl once, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But once it's happened a second time, that means there might be something there. She might be interested in you, you're probably interested in her. So at that point, after you've made random eye contact twice, go ahead and approach. And the reason I say twice is because if you wait until it's been 3, 4, 5 times that you make eye contact, at that point, it just starts to look kind of creepy or like you don't have the confidence to go up and approach her, and neither of those things are going to help you. So that wraps it up for today. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to show me some love by giving this video a thumbs up or commenting your thoughts or whatever you want to do. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.